So this is my saltwater mixing station, which is out in my garage. I had nowhere else to put this in the house. Garage seemed like a good place to do it. But I did take a while to sort this one out because I had no water source. So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do this. And I'll show you towards the end of the video how I managed to tap into a water supply line to make this one work. But the gist of this, for those of you that may or may not know, is on the right side is the container for the fresh water, and on the left side is the container for the salt water. You'll see this all over YouTube. This is nothing new. Everybody kind of has their own way of doing things, but this is pretty basic. This BRS RODI 7 stage is what comes in from, or what, treats the water that's coming into the house before it enters this container. And I chose a 7 stage just because I wanted the best possible water filtration I could get. You probably don't need it, but this is what I did. I also went with 150 gallons per day, only because it does save really about 50% of water waste, which to me is well worth it. So the water that comes in to this system will come in through this pump, and this is a high pressure pump because I have low pressure in my house. It's about 35 psi. You need much more than that to efficiently make water. So this boosts the pressure. It then comes up through the RODI system up top, which is basically the filtrations, the carbon blocks, and the membranes up top. And then it'll go through the bottom stages of DI, which will help treat the water before it actually enters into this freshwater container right here. And the system has a float. So if it does get too full, it will turn the water off. And trust me, you want something, because I've flooded my garage in the past. Anyways, the right side fills with water. Then I have a pump right here in the middle, which is a DC pump. It runs very, very quiet. And I will adjust the valving accordingly so that this water, fresh water, will pump in through the pump and up this side and then into the saltwater side. And this is where I mix the salt water. So I'll add salt to that. I have this set on a timer. It'll come on like 3 times a day for about an hour each time. So I'm not running it all the time. But what happens is the salt water will come through here. It'll be diverted back up, and back down. So it's just recycles it over and over, kind of a circular motion. That's what mixes this. And what I've done is also added a filter sock right there to help control all that black gunk that you get in the bottom. And it works. So without it, I was cleaning these things twice a year, which is a hassle. But that's the gist of this. Like I said, it's nothing new. Probably a ton of videos on how these work. I just sort of wanted to touch on how I was able to get water to these, because again, my garage doesn't have a sink, a drain, anything like that. So it was a little bit of a challenge. So what I did is I had to go outside to the side of my house and find where the water came into my house, which I located right here. And I measured from the side of the house in to find out approximately how far it was. And on the inside of my house, I cut a hole in the wall. This hole's bigger than what you would normally need, but I've got a soft water system and some whole home filtration. So I had to do a little bit more than what the average project would be. But right in there, if I can zoom in, is the main water line. And basically what happens is it just goes straight up through the walls and over to the house and to the water heater. So I tapped into that. This is PEX, it's really easy to work with. And I put a ball valve and I put 2 T's in my case. You could probably get by with just tapping directly into that with a fitting for your RODI. But in my case, I put a couple of T's in there. One for the water output, or coming out through my filtration system, and one going back into the house. So like I said, I have a whole home water filtration system. You probably don't need to know this, but I'll just point out what happens. The water comes in, comes through, and it filters through this 3-stage system. I have too many elbows, so I will be removing some of these, but then it comes into my water softener, which is this device right here, and it exits through another filter before it loops around and comes back and goes back into the house. And that's where I chose to tap into this, and I'll show it. I've got an air compressor in the way, so it's a little hard to see, but there's the fitting I got from Ace that just taps in. It's a PEX fitting that I tapped into this PEX hose with, and was able to just add the tubing needed that goes to my RODI unit. And with RODIs and water softeners, not that this is about water softeners, you need a drain. RODIs, to make water, they waste water, and like I said, with the 150 gallon per day unit, I'm cutting that back by about 50% of what a 75 gallon per day unit would be. So it saves water. So if you're going to invest, you might as well invest in something that will help cut back on the water waste. But anyways, same area that I cut the hole in, I put a pipe that leads outside. This is the drain line from the RODI, or the wastewater drain line, and this is from my soft water. And again, going back outside, where I located the incoming water source is where I put this drain. So this is just PVC. And I just put a hole into the wall, ran some PVC, put some caulking around it to hold it. It could literally just drain right out, but I chose to bury it under my sidewalk, and the drain goes into this little ditch. So my fresh water goes over and waters my trees. Some people even collect the water and use it somewhere else. So that's sort of the basis of how I ran it. I know it's a little bit of a cluster mess, but in this case, I'm really getting, let's see, you've got 3-stage filtration there, got the water softener, and the final filtration before it even goes to my RODI unit. So super overkill. Again, that wasn't for my RODI. This was for my house, for drinking water and whatnot. But it just so happens that I was able to tap into it and benefit from all the extra filtration. So that's kind of the gist of it. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave a comment. And thank you for watching. Bye.